Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
Thank you for the beautiful introduction, Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, no beer can opening or coffee tonight. It's I've just consumed too much of both today. But Joe, I have a treat for you.
Ooh.
Over the, I'd say, past day and a half, Joe and I have been trying to figure out what the first movie we ever watched together was. And although we still don't know the answer to that, Joe, in front of me, I have the first email you ever sent me.
Oh, shit.
Sent on Tuesday, July 11th, 2017 at 8:10 p.m.
I know how it starts. I know the first
The
three
call,
words.
the call into the ether, as you so beautifully worded in a letter you wrote me.
I said that? Call into the ether?
Yes, you gave me a letter for Thanksgiving Day talking about how cool I am, and you're like, I thinking back on those words, they were kind of a call into the ether. Would you agree? And I remember just reading that, and I'm like, this is the only thing Joe Gato would write. And for our lovely listeners, I'm gonna read this email that Joe sent me.
Oh, my God.
Hello, fellow Joe. It's what a way to introduce yourself.
Yeah, full context. We had just found out that we were going to be college roommates freshman year. And so this is the first bit of contact I've ever had with you. So continue.
Hello, fellow Joe. I've just seen that we'll be rooming together and thought it'd be good to chat a bit. Maybe get to know how each other operate before we come face to face and realize there's been a horrible matchup, which hopefully is not the case. I am from New Jersey and I will be a scientific illustration major. I love comics and I tend to go to bed before midnight. Not true.
Oh, how times have changed.
Not quite an early riser, but sometimes I can get up at the crack of dawn. I assume some of these routines are similar due to the roommates Match.com. And you have a link to Match.com put in there.
Do I really?
Yes, it's a hyperlink to Match.com.
That's great. That's fucking incredible.
But feel free to let me know anything you want and ask any questions about me you'd like. I look forward to meeting you. And I will give you my more structured email after being solely disappointed that I wasn't living by myself. Hello, Joe. It is nice to meet you. I am a biology pre-PT major from Feasterville, Pennsylvania, and I will be playing for Arcadia's soccer team. I am a very big music fan and like everything except country, which, I can appreciate country now. I also collect vinyl records. I am an avid reader and also love to watch movies. I tend to go to bed around 10:30, but obviously if overwhelmed with homework, I am always prepared to stay up late. Oh, God. I tend to wake up rather early and will most likely continue to do so throughout the year because I believe I have early morning practices. Not true. They're all in the afternoon. You can find me on Instagram at Joe00GK, which is not active anymore, guys. I'm not on the gram. Also, and I'm talking about the Teddy Gram. Also, here's my cell phone number. Beep, beep, boop, boop, boop. Y'all,
I still have your cell phone number. It's...
I also noticed... and then I mentioned that I thought you weren't registered for the second semester because it was something weird with self-service. But, yeah, that was the email, Joe.
Yeah, that's so funny. I can't believe I was such a fucking goober enough that I put in a hyperlink to Match.com. That's incredible.
Yeah, I literally...
So Joe, I've always been a genius, is what you're telling me.
Basically, yes.
Good to know.
That I hope you enjoyed that little treat I gave you.
I really did. What the fuck are we talking about today?
Comics.
All right. So hello, everyone. Cup of Joe, episode 20.2. It's the comic edition. It's the infinite frontier, if you will, the beginning of that. For
what
DC
a pun!
Comics.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So instead of focusing on that, let's focus on books that aren't that.
That was a
So Harry Potter.
great transition. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, we're going to be focusing on mainly that because we both read two books this week. At least we both read two of the same books this week, and then I read two extra ones. So, real briefly, I'm going to go over that stuff because it'll be boring if you just hear me rambling about books for a half hour. So, first book I want to talk about is another indie book. It's called Nocturna. Joe, this is by a guy named Scott Snyder. He did the Batman run that I got into comics on. What are you going to say?
I was like, oh, a very rare name in the comic world.
Yes, super, super rare. You'd be hard pressed to find any other titles. You only have, 1, 2, 75, maybe 100 different books with his name on it. Yeah, Scott Snyder. He's a pretty successful comics writer. But this is his latest venture into indie series. Not his first. He's got plenty of indie series out there. But this is the one that I was like, oh, I'll get on the ground floor of this. So it's called Nocturna. Just came out last week. Art by Tony S. Daniel. And it basically follows the story of this girl who is a trucker. But the cargo that she carries across America is people. And it's in an alternate universe where 13 years ago in universe from the present day, night fell across the entire world and hasn't let up. So, like, the world is in eternal darkness, basically. And if you're in the dark for more than a couple, like 10-ish hours, you are mutated into a monster of sorts. So, this is 13 years into that, and basically the people to survive wear suits with different lights on them to try and keep themselves illuminated in the dark. That way they don't have this. It's kind of like an infection. It starts in the gums, and you can tell, and then it moves into the blood and bones, and by that point it's too late, sort of thing. So that's the basic universe premise for this story, and in the book you kind of just watching how she handles moving people from one location to another. Gives you a good understanding of how things work. Also, I like the idea that you have to like wear lights on the suits that you wear in order to actually, keep the infection at bay, because it lends itself to some cool and creative suit design, which I always love. I like the main character. Her name is Val, and I she's got like this visor helmet thing that she wears that has this really big red circle on the front of it. It's a really cool design thing, and I'm interested to see where the rest of it goes. And yeah, it's basically the premise of this story is there's a guy who's like, hey, I want you to take me from this place to this place. And she's like, I'll begrudgingly say okay because plot reasons. I don't want to get too much into it. But so that's kind of what's going on. And there's someone who's kind of chasing them down for a reason that you're not quite sure of yet. So it's a bit of a mystery in the beginning, which is always nice. But good art, fascinating world. I'd recommend it to people who are interested in that shiznit. And the other book that I read, Batman 106. It's the ongoing Batman series that was going before Future State and is now continuing now. Still written by James Tynion the Fourth. I fucking love saying that guy's name. And then Jorge Jimenez on art, who is a fucking god when it comes to making comic book art. And I mean, like, he draws things. Like, Joe, you thought the Red Hood story was manga inspired? Look at some Jimenez art, because that shit is on another fucking level. It's incredible. It's a Scarecrow story, essentially. It's the beginnings of a Scarecrow story. And it's also the seeds of the, whatchamacallit, what the fuck would they call it? The Magistrate. Seeds of the Magistrate, basically like the originator of the Magistrate program, is introduced in this book. So obviously all this stuff takes place in the past from Future State. And while that's not the permanent future, that is one of the possible ones, and they're definitely playing with that in this book. It's intriguing. It's incredible art. Just recommend from me if you like Batman or you're already reading this, keep reading it. It is good.
Do you like the Scarecrow design?
I do, but that might just be because I love most of what Jorge Jimenez does. I need to see how other people draw it. Because honestly, if I see someone else draw it with all the sticks and the gas mask and everything, I might not like it as much. But as of right now, I fucking love it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Okay. So yeah, those are just the two books that I read real quickly. Just get those off the table now, so we can go into the books that we have both read, and it's not just me word vomiting shit. Which one do you want to talk about first here?
I do want to say that I had mentioned last week that I was also going to get Blade Runner 2029 number 3, but I got in an argument. Not an argument. I'm just hyperbolizing. Um, I go up to the front counter and I'm like, hey, I saw you don't got Blade Runner 2029 number 3. Like, what's up? And the guy's like, oh, well, actually, that comes out next week. And I was like, oh, my mistake. I must have read it wrong. And then the other dude at the computer is like, actually, let me check. Um, and then he goes on the computer. He's like, hey, boss, it actually says this week. And then I'm like, oh. But then he goes to his list. He goes, oh, really? And then he goes to his list for next week. He goes, then why is it on my list for next week? And I'm like, look, man, I don't know. I'm just asking if you got Blade Runner.
Your rook took my knight, well, my knight takes your rook.
um, yeah, so that was a kind of little funny thing. So I'll be getting Blade Runner next week. But, um, oh, man. See, this is the thing. Infinite Frontier is a lot.
It is.
Demon Days is short, but I feel like let's do Demon Days. Let's do Demon Days.
All right,
And I'll take the lead. I'll take the lead.
go for it.
So this is a Peach Momoko comic. It's written by her, art by her. I talked about in the last comics episode that I used to follow her on Instagram and the Teddygram. And I love her art. This is a Marvel comic, and it's Demon Days X-Men. And I knew nothing about this besides the fact that I saw the cover. I'm like, oh, that's Momoko art. So that's why I bought it. But Joe was telling me that it's kind of like this thing that they're trying to do with the X-Men, and I did not realize that.
Yeah, no, disregard everything I said. This has absolutely fuck all to do with what they're doing with the X-Men.
Yeah. I was like, it's doing something. It's cool. Like, I thought it was going to be almost like an origin story of like a new character or something along those lines that would be then implemented into the X-Men. But there's other X-Men characters in this. And basically this is Marvel, the story of Princess Mononoke, um, which to a certain extent, it's more talking about the history of Japanese tribes and the forest and the relationship with the animals in the forest and the spirits, which is very similar to Princess Mononoke and a lot of Studio Ghibli films. So I really like that, and I love Japanese, and I love Asian culture in general. So I really enjoyed seeing this first page almost being in like traditional like Japanese art style, and that the text pages, the text bubbles were actually like they look like they're like scrolls, which I thought was really cool. And I love the art in this. This art's awesome. I'm interested to see how you feel about this art because I love it because I love Peach's art. What do you think, Joe? You a fan?
So this was the last book that I read of the four that I was going through, and so I had come off of two books that had a Jimenez art in it that I
Oh
thought was
no.
incredible, and then Nocturna's art with from by Tony S. Daniel, and so I was in like I was hyped from all that stuff because I was like, yeah, this is some badass, cool looking shit, and so I opened up to the first page of this book, and I started reading the first page, and there were a few like text boxes on the page, and I kind of got bored after the first after the first text box, and I was like, I'm not feeling this right now. I'll come back to it. So I I gave it a day. Like I took a day of separation, and then I came back to it, and I like this art a lot. Like it's obviously a very different style from a lot of the stuff that you probably find in your standard Marvel DC comic art line. But I think it's really good. It's very refreshing. It's got this like youthful bounce to it, and it's like a softness as well. It's very calligraphy. There it is. There's the stroke of the episode. Very soft calligraphy brush style. I had to slow my brain waves down to like 4 miles an hour.
It was good. You did it. I'm
you.
proud of you.
You got there. That's all we can hope for. But yeah, it's again very different, very soft stylings. It's like watercolored, and there's just something very nice about the entirety of it. So yes, I enjoy this art wholeheartedly.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that. And yeah, the story, like I said, similar to like Princess Mononoke, and just the general story of a town having a Japanese village having a bad relationship with the animals and spirits in the forest nearby, and they're trying to figure out a way to come to peace. Well, I guess the people aren't really trying to find a way, but this I guess she's a new character, right? Sai. Am I missing something that like she's new?
Everyone in this, not everyone, but most of the main characters in this book are mythological interpretations of already existing characters. Sai is Psylocke.
Really?
Psylocke is a mutant. I don't want to get into her because her history is really fucking complicated.
Okay, I didn't know that, so thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
Well, I really like her. I like her design. I like her personality in this. I didn't once I realized that her dog slash wolf partner is called Logan. I was like, oh, I'm like, I'm assuming that's Wolverine. I'm like, oh, is this because I came into this really thinking I'm like, oh, there's gonna be like this new character in the X-Men. This is gonna be like origin story. No, not. This is just X-Men, but set it in feudal Japanese world.
Yeah, this is X-Men this is X-Men remix by feudal Japan. Like this was an album thing on Spotify. That's what it would read. It would be X-Men title remix feudal Japan.
Yeah, and then and at first I'm like, okay, maybe they're just calling it Logan as almost like an Easter egg. But then when I realized that Venom was the snake, I was like, okay. I'm like, I see what's going on here.
I see what tricks you're playing here, book.
Yeah, and there's other ones where the Oni, which are like the kind of ogres of the forest, that's Hulk, also known as Hulk Maru. I think he's pretty cute. Um, there's this other little character in the village called Tsuki, and she's this child in the village, but she's like a tough motherfucker, and it's like, I want to take on the Oni, I want to kill the snake, and it's like, whoa, settle down, Sai's like, let me handle this. And I don't know, there's a lot of cool ideas in this, and I want more. Simple as that. I think this first story was pretty good. I think it was anything like crazy, but I would be happy to learn more about this story.
Yeah, I agree. Which the because this is one of five as we discovered, but the actual release of this thing is a little odd because I don't believe the next book comes out until June, and yeah, and then if you flip to the back, I can hear you in the book. If you flip to all the way to the back, I'm pretty sure there's like a preview of it.
No.
Yeah, and it says it's like it's X-Men something or number one. It's another number one. So I think it's a bunch of different like anthology number ones in the series. Do you see what the title of that is by any chance?
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing. The ending, we find out that this story that we've been reading, it's almost like this book is like an Inception book where it's like
Yes.
you then get the surprise that, oh, in reality, a character was actually reading the story about Sai, Logan, and these characters, and her name is Mariko. And, um, yeah, and then you find out that it's, I guess, in the future of that
Or at
same
least the
world.
present day.
Yeah, yeah, because then the last little panel is Logan with his eye scratched out. Um,
Hmm. Logan the
so,
dog, not Logan the not Hugh
yes.
Jackman.
Yes. And the title of the next book is Demon Days Mariko, which is the name of
Yes,
the girl that we see at the end.
right. And so two things about the end. I'm pretty sure the woman who walks in and tells her to go to bed. Um, I translated her name. I think it means like black tree or something like that. But the only reason I did that was because I noticed she had red hair, and then the hairpin was the black hourglass symbol, and I was like, "Is this supposed to be Black Widow?"
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
That's really good.
I am deep in the comics, Joe. I am wading through the deep end of the comic pool. Like literally, I was poring over this book, just looking at stuff, just being like, "Is this something?" I There are probably other characters that I just completely bypass because I'm not the most familiar with X-Men comic stuff. The most I've gotten into it has been the House of X Powers of 10 reboot thing that's been going on now. But even then, I'm like, I've only read that beginner series, which is like 12 issues, and then there's been 85 bajillion series that have gone on from that. So my knowledge of this is limited, but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a Black Widow analog. And Mariko, if I remember correctly, is in some continuity. I believe it's Logan's wife. I believe there was a story where they were wanted to be together, they were engaged or something like that, but Mariko had to do something or other. I can't remember. I just know that she's a lover of Wolverine. So it's interesting that we see Doggo Logan at the end of this, and then we see like a child version of Mariko. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I am intrigued by it nonetheless.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. That's very interesting stuff. Um, but now we get to the big meaty pause of this week. Whoosh. A lot of stuff going on here. Joe, take the reins, man.
Okay, so I don't want to talk about everything in this book in
No,
great
God
detail
no.
because that would
God
be.
no.
But so essentially, Infinite Frontier number 0. That's what we're talking about. It's the new launching point for everyone who wants to get caught up real quick to what's been going on in the DC universe and what will be going on from now on. So back in December, we had the end of Death Metal. Think of that what you will. I didn't like it, but I'm okay with where the universe is now. Wonder Woman Ascendant to Godhood. So in this book, there is a group of beings. I can't remember the name because no one ever can, because no one really actually cares about these characters. That's why they don't have a fucking book. Anyway,
I
they're
have
all
the
like,
name. I have the name, Joe. It's
what's
called.
the name?
Oh boy. Yeah, it's a little cringy. The Quintessence.
Okay, sure. We have the Quintessence, which is like the Question and Spectre and Ganthet from the Guardians of the Universe, and I don't remember who the woman is, but don't correct me, Joe. It's not important. the the Spectre takes Wonder Woman on a tour of the universe as it is now, because at the end of Death Metal, everything was collided into one ultimate universe sort of a thing. So it's like it's no, they weren't collided. It was instead of 52 distinct universes, there is now infinite. There's no limit. So it's a legitimate multiverse now where there's just infinite possibilities. Hence, Infinite Frontier. So it's kind of just like Spectre taking Wonder Woman on a journey because she's like, I was told it'd be a terrible cost if I were to ascend to this godhood or whatever. And Spectre's like, I know not what this terrible cost you speak of is, but here, to put your mind at ease, I guess we'll go fuck around in your universe for a bit. So they go off, and it's basically just Wonder Woman taking a tour of the universe so that we can take a tour of the universe with her.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what's going on with Batman, you see what's going on with Superman. He's a bit of a Spectre's a bit of a dick when it comes to John Kent Clark's son.
Oh,
He's
big
like,
dick.
yeah, and he's just like, yeah, this guy is a terrible person, and he's going to destroy the universe or something. And then Wonder Woman's like, what the fuck? Look what he's doing. And he's like, yeah, he's gonna destroy it right here, right now. And then Wonder Woman's like, no, he's helping by being a compassion, like being compassionate to his enemy instead of just punching it in the face. Like that's what all idiots think that Superman does to win his problems. Um, but no, he's a good boy, which I was very happy about. Like when I saw that, I was like, oh. When I read that, I was like, are you seriously gonna ruin John Kent and make him this horrible person? Because I really liked John Kent in the Rebirth era, which was the stuff that predated all this. And thankfully, Wonder Woman was like, no, he's a good person. He's the son of Superman. How could he not be a good person? And I'm like, oh, thank God. What else is in this book, Joe? You have it open, I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on who else is in this. We got Batman, we got Superman, we got John Kent.
Yeah, yeah. So the first story we get is the Superman one with Shazam. I guess
Oh yeah,
nothing crazy. And then yeah, that didn't really mean anything. The Batman story is kind of cool. The art looks sick.
yeah, that's the Jorge Jimenez art, baby.
Yeah, the last panel of the first part of the story where it's an upside down, where Batman's upside down and he's swinging.
Yes,
Oh, so cool.
yes.
We get a little bit of backstory of how Nubia kind of got that leadership role in Themyscira.
Oh yeah.
We learn a little bit about Yara's background,
We
which
get
is
a
pretty cool to
page of
see.
her in an airport, and then there are two other people that are just like target acquired.
And then my favorite part is we find out Alan Scott is gay.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Obsidian and Jade, his two children. Um, yeah, I thought that was a sweet little thing where they were. It was told from Obsidian's point of view because Obsidian himself, I'm 90% sure, is gay. Um, and then he was narrating the whole thing, and it's basically just a nice little story between the three of them that leads up to him admitting to his children that he is gay, and then they're just like, "Yeah, we got you, Dad. We love you." So that was cool.
And then we get two pages of Teen Titans, which is all I needed.
Oh
So it looks
yeah.
like this Teen Titans book is actually going to, hopefully, Red X is going to play a huge part, at least based off these first two pages were all about him. And it looks like we get some info that whoever Red X is, he wasn't supposed to be at Titans Tower. Um, and then, yeah, we get that John Kent story. Oh, is this green? Oh, the Green Arrow, um, little short
Yeah,
story. That looked
yeah.
that
Where
I actually
it's
really liked that art. I thought that was pretty unique.
that was Alex Maleev on art, who is a veteran. He's incredible. I have the entire Bendis run of Daredevil. I have like three Ultimate collections of it, and he's basically the mainstay artist on that series. I'll send you some of the art on that because it is just as um, like gestural and gritty, and it looks incredible. So yeah, I'll definitely send you some images of that because it's really fucking cool.
Yeah, that was cool. After that, we have Stargirl. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Jeff Johns is so fucking horny for Stargirl. Like he's the creator, or not creator, but like the big producer on the Stargirl TV show, which I haven't seen, so I'm not going to judge. But now he's writing this, and I'm just like, what the fuck is it with Stargirl and you?
Yeah, I don't see the hype. Um, we get back to the Batman story, get a little bit of background, um, and the Batman story finishes up. You see what Scarecrow looks like. I think he looks pretty dope.
Just his
Um,
freaking man spreading.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I think it looks cool. Um, we get a little bit of Green Lantern. That there's now a Kid Lantern,
Yes, this was the, if you remember some of this
Teen
stuff.
Lantern, I should say.
Yeah, she's the one that has like the gauntlet that looks like the thing that Hal Jordan got in one of the New 52 stories. it was interesting-ish. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I'm curious to see what Green Lantern titles are coming because I'm pretty sure issue 12 of Green Lantern season 2 by Grant Morrison just came out, which should be the last one of those. So I'm curious to see where Green Lantern goes from here.
And then we have the Flash story. And Joe, um, I don't know. I think this art's terrible.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that art is by Howard Porter. Um, People seem to really like Howard Porter on the Flash. I fucking hate it.
No, no, this is
I
terrible. I think it looks garbage. Oh
It
man, that was
is
really mean of me.
yeah, no, I'm with you. It is a style. Apparently, a lot of people like it. I don't know who, but he's worked with Joshua Williamson, who basically I think he literally just wrapped up his Flash run a couple months ago. He did like 100 issues of the Flash, not all with Howard Porter, but a lot of them with him. Um, and people like they really like his art style. The I grew like when I first got into Flash in the comics, it was the New 52 run. So that was Francis Manipool. And Francis Manipool has a very linear, angular way of drawing characters, and it's very like watercolor-esque as well, so it's really smooth. And his Flash is pretty lean. So, and I'm of the mindset of like, yeah, Flash shouldn't be some bodybuilder, muscle-bound guy because that wouldn't really make any sense. He's a runner. He's not super strong. He runs, so it doesn't make sense that he'd have a chest as big as Batman or Superman or something like that. And the way Howard Porter draws, it's all spheres and cubes, and everything looks really big and bulky. And as a Flash fan, I fucking hate it.
Yeah, it wasn't even that bothered me. It's just like the faces, the
They're very weird.
oh, I no, I didn't
It's
like
like
it.
a big baby head.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. And then after that, that's kind of like the last of Wonder Woman looking at the world, and she's like, "All right, Spectre, I'm ready to go back." And then she turns down the Quintessence, and then she transforms. Also, Wonder Woman's get up at the throughout most of the story, so cool. I
It
love it.
is. It's like the white godly robes and shit. I love the look of that.
And then she does a little twisty do, and she transforms into her Wonder Woman gear, with this sick, like fur jacket or like I don't know, like cape or
Yeah, it's like a pelt, like a friggin' shoulder pelt. It's awesome. She goes Viking Wonder Woman, and I'm like, yeah,
yeah, yeah. It looks awesome. And then we get a nice shot of like all the heroes and stuff like that are gonna be part of the world, what they're looking like. Red X is in there, makes my day. Um, and then the final, oh boy, oh God, the final little part of this book is we find out that like I guess Darkseid is gonna be the big villain for this, and that he's now killed the Quintessence, and Spectre.
good. Who cares?
But Joe, I'm not, the art for these last what is it, 1, 2, 3 pages, and the way
Mhm.
Darkseid looks, oh God,
Not a fan.
not a fan. If you do you have your book in front of you, Joe?
No, I remember what it looks
Ah,
like, but
like there's I'm looking at this one panel right now of the Quintessence, and the one dude just looks like a circle with a bunch of hair, just kind of like lines through everywhere, and it oh God, and then Darkseid, you know, you want to have a really cool final page. This is not it at all.
yeah, it is a more vintage style. I think they were trying to harken back more so to the Jack Kirby days when because he created all the fourth world characters, which would be like Darkseid and Orion and Mister Miracle and Highfather and all that crap. Um, so it seems like it's kind of an intentional vintage throwback, um, but also it's kind of dumb looking. I don't hate it, but it's obviously not my favorite sort of a thing in the world. But
Yeah.
I'm more excited to see Darkseid actually be a big bad again because throughout most of Rebirth, at the end of New 52 was the Darkseid War, which A lot of people liked and a lot of people didn't like. It was kind of like it was basically a big popcorn action film thing because it was just Antimatter and Darkseid punching a lot, and then all the Justice League members also doing some punching and stuff like that. But he was, let's see if I can remember this correctly. He was destroyed, and then a baby was born from Superwoman, who is the evil Earth 3 version of Wonder Woman. And she had that baby with that Earth's Shazam, which then Grail, daughter of Darkseid, remember from the Wonder Woman book, picked up this baby from Superwoman and yelled Shazam backwards, which is like Mazas, and then that baby became Darkseid. And then that Darkseid was killed by Grail, and then that Darkseid then reverted into like a literal baby Darkseid, and then Grail raised that baby Darkseid into real Darkseid, and then real Darkseid. Oh, Justice League Odyssey. He was on the team with Justice League Odyssey until he wasn't, and then became a villain, but he wasn't at full power, and then he sort of got to full power, and then timey-wimey shit happened, and then death metal. So I hope he kept up because now we're here. If he didn't, don't worry, none of that matters. Just know that Darkseid is back at full power.
Seems legit.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The only thing I'd love to say is, this is a pretty big book. And I don't know, I went into expecting like some like crazy info or like some big news or something like that. Not really anything. Nothing crazy. Like maybe just a little bit like if you didn't read Future State, this will give you a little bit of context, but like even just reading like the little bit of Future State stuff that we did, like I feel like we already knew a lot of the stuff in here.
Yeah, it's not trying to rewrite anything massive. It's just letting you know it's just letting you know the status quo for the entire universe. Basically, it's like, all right, this is what Batman and Superman and Green Lantern and Green Arrow are going to be up to basically this entire time. So this is like you buy this book to kind of get a grasp on what everyone's going to be doing, and then from there you can buy your series and do whatever the heck you want. So it's just it's literally issue 0 for all the series, just to let you know and be like, okay, Infinite Frontier starts here. Now go forth and buy our books.
Yeah, it makes sense. What do you get? What are you getting this week?
That is a good question, and I am not just saying that because I'm stalling trying to pull up the website where I look at my comics. Why would you even think that, Joe?
I mean,
Okay.
I could say what I'm getting so that then that gives you time. You know what? I'm just going to get into it, boys.
Okay.
As of right now, on my pull list, I only have Blade Runner 2029, number 3, which, hopefully will come out, and that I'm not going to get there, and he's going to be like, well, actually, it came out last week, but I didn't order it, so it's just gone. But another comic that comes out is Blade Runner Origins, number 1, which I'm also going to pick up because I'm on my Blade Runner kick. Yeah, so those are just the two. There wasn't really anything else that I saw that I kind of wanted, but that's why I was waiting for Joseph to tell me what he's getting, because who knows, me, he's the guru here.
Yeah, I'm the guru here. Literally, I think there's only one book that I'm actually going to be picking up next week, as far as I can tell. I'm probably going to be picking up this Wonder Woman title, because if I remember, last week there was also a Wonder Woman book, but that didn't have Viking Wonder Woman on the cover, and this one does. So I'm looking into it. It's the Afterworlds Part 1 / Birthday Blues. So there's regular thing, and then in the backup story, where the world may know her as Wonder Woman. Once upon a time, she was just a handsome, scary young girl struggling. Blah, 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 blah. So it's like it's a story in the past is the backup. But yeah, so I really want to see what this Viking Wonder Woman is doing, basically. And then other than that, there's not a whole lot in here that I'm going to be picking up. I might pick up the Superman one and just see where that goes. I have no interest in the Joker book coming out. It's like the aftermath of Joker War. I don't care, even though I read all of that. And then there's just a bunch. Again, the end of Green Lantern season 2, so that's the end of the second Grant Morrison run of Green Lantern. I'm gonna pick it up in trade, so we'll do that maybe later. But yeah, so as of right now, I only have one book, but I guarantee there will probably be something later on that I'll be like, ooh, that, and I'll pick it up and talk about it.
Well, wonderful. I am happy to see that we are not picking up any of the same comics.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Take us out of here.
All right, everyone. Be sure to do all the normal YouTube shiznit, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Any of that would be very helpful. And that shall be it from us for this week's comics. Be sure to tune in next week for other comic shiznit that we'll be talking about. See what I end up picking up, if it's just Wonder Woman or something else. I know you really care about what I pick up from my comic store. And with that, we shall say we love you, we leave you, and goodbye.